Mayor Radis, Council President Fox, members of council, and people who live in Summit. I'm here tonight to share the story of the four chaplains. Yesterday, February 3rd, was the 77th anniversary of the sinking of the U.S. Army transport Dorchester and the selfless acts of four Army chaplains who were aboard. February 3rd is now commemorated as Four Chaplains Day. When I was in public school, I learned about four chaplains during what was called Brotherhood Week, a commemoration organized by the National Conference of Christians and Jews to respond to anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic, and anti-Jewish sentiment in the 1920s. Well, here's their remarkable story. The troop ship Dorchester departed St. John's, Newfoundland for an American base in Greenland on January 23, 1943. Four chaplains were aboard the ship. Methodist minister George Fox, Rabbi Alexander Good, Dutch Reformed minister Reverend Clark Poling, and a Roman Catholic priest, Father John Washington. These four chaplains were first lieutenants and had met each other during their training at Army Chaplain School. But like so many other World War II people, they came together from different backgrounds. George Fox was born in Lewiston, Pennsylvania. When he was 17, he left school, joined the Army, and served in World War I as a medical corps assistant. He was awarded the Silver Star, Purple Heart, and French Croix de Guerre. After the war, he attended Illinois Wesleyan University and the Boston University School of Theology, where he was ordained as a Methodist minister. In 1942, Fox volunteered to serve as an Army chaplain. He began active duty on August 8, 1942, the same day his son Wyatt enlisted in the Marine Corps. Rabbi Alexander D. Good was born in Brooklyn, New York on May 10, 1911, the son of a rabbi. He was ordained by the Hebrew Union College and later received a PhD from Johns Hopkins University. He originally applied to become a Navy chaplain, but he couldn't pass the physical because of his eyesight. So after the attack on Pearl Harbor, he applied again. This time the Army accepted him. Clark V. Poling was born in Columbus, Ohio, the son of an evangelical minister who was rebaptized in 1936 as a Baptist minister. Poling studied at Yale University's Divinity School and was ordained in the Reformed Church in America. With the outbreak of World War II, he applied to serve as an Army chaplain. John P. Washington was local to New Jersey. He was born in Newark, studied at Seton Hall, graduating with an AB degree. He entered Immaculate Conception Seminary in Darlington, New Jersey, and was ordained as a priest. Shortly after Pearl Harbor attack, he received his appointment as a chaplain in the United States Army. The four chaplains were aboard the Dorchester when shortly after midnight on February 3rd, the ship was struck by 3 torpedoes from a German submarine. The torpedoes tore a hole in the starboard side of the ship from below the waterline to the top deck. All electricity was knocked out. The ship was without light or a public address system. Panic set in. Many were trapped below decks. Abandoned ship could only be passed along from man to man. The four chaplains swung into action, calmed the men, helped the wounded, handed out life vests, and directed men to lifeboats. One sailor, Petty Officer John J. Mahoney, tried to re-enter his cabin, but Rabbi Good stopped him. Mahoney, concerned about the cold Arctic air, explained he had forgotten his gloves. "Never mind," Good responded, "I have 2 pairs." The rabbi then gave the petty officer his own gloves, and in retrospect, Mahoney realized that Rabbi Good was not conveniently carrying 2 pairs of gloves, and that the rabbi had decided to stay on the Dorchester. When there were no more life vests on the ship, the four chaplains gave theirs to 4 other young men. One witness, Private William B. Bednar, found himself floating in oil-smeared water, surrounded by dead bodies and debris. He said, "I could hear men crying, pleading, praying. I could also hear the chaplains preaching courage. Their voices were the only thing that kept me going." As the Dorchester sank, the four chaplains were seen linked arm in arm, praying as they went under. According to some reports, survivors could hear English, Hebrew, and Latin mixed in with prayers of the chaplains. 672 of the 902 officers, enlisted men, merchant seamen, and civilian workers aboard the Dorchester died. Many of the survivors owe their lives to the courage and leadership exhibited by the four chaplains, who, in sacrificing their lives, created a unique legacy of brotherhood. The four chaplains were posthumously awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, the second highest Army award for bravery, and the Purple Heart. There were many in Congress who wanted to bestow the Medal of Honor on the men, but were prevented from doing so because to earn the Medal of Honor, you have to be under direct fire. In 1960, Congress unanimously awarded a special gold medal to the families of the four chaplains in their memory. We need to understand that in the 1940s, our country was sharply divided along religious lines. Until the Dorchester, there was no mention in print of Catholics, Protestants, and Jews working together in this manner, especially in prayer. It was a transformational experience for America. Today, there is a memorial to all chaplains at Arlington Cemetery that is dedicated to the four chaplains and all chaplains who served. But there is in my mind another memorial that is so ordinary that it's not recognized. A few years ago, while visiting Arlington Cemetery, I walked over to the section with the newest graves, most of which were for men and women from Afghanistan and Iraq. On the row of the newest graves, I came upon these two, a grave of a Jewish soldier, and next to it, the grave of a Muslim soldier. In many countries, these two men would be mortal enemies. In America, they were brothers in arms who are laid to rest beside one another and who will be together forever. That is the continuing legacy of the four chaplains.
Thank you, Henry. I think it's a really great reminder of...
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
I said I think that this story is a really great reminder of the importance of unity amongst all different people in this
Yes.
country. And I think, you know, at a time like this, we need this kind of unifying message. So thank you for bringing this to us. Does anyone from council
privilege.
have any questions or comments on this?
Thank you.
Anyone?
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you.
Bill?
I just want to add, I'm Bill Rapp, 31 Dale Drive in Summit, and I'm past commander. I just want to add something to what Henry said. The memorialization of heroes like this are extremely important to the survivors and families of our veterans. We here in Summit owe that to them. And we owe that to, especially to the survivors of the families of the soldiers of World War II and Korea, of those people who died from Summit. That can be seen in the memorial on the village green. Sort of. We're talking about capital expenditures earlier, Mr. Nadeau. Henry and I, over a year ago, started a campaign to erect a memorial for the two Medal of Honor winners from World War I. It was a very successful campaign. And we just barely made it. We will be finishing up with the medallions of the three types of Medal of Honor for the three branches. That will be coming, hopefully, when the next couple of months. We've got the last final amounts, and it will then be a very beautiful monument. What we weren't able to do was come up with enough money to be able to donate to the City Council for the refurbishment of the World War II and Korean War Memorial, which is in terrible shape. Those panels, you can barely read the names of those brave heroes. Some of the panels are actually pulling away from the monument. It really is a disgrace to see how those have deteriorated. And I remember coming to council and hearing a certain council president say that City of Summit owes it to those veterans, and that the city would somehow come up with the money to help restore that. So I'm going to call in that chip and please ask, and I will beg on behalf of the American Legion and veterans, that the city somehow come up with money in the capital plans and capital budget to restore that monument on the village green. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I?
Yes.
So if I recall, Bill, I said exactly those things the last time you guys came, when I was council president, and you came with the proposal dealing with honoring, after 100 years, Medal of Honor winners, and we got that done. And I said, and I meant it then, and I mean it now, that if we have to honor those who serve this country. No ifs, ands, or buts. I have not seen a proposal, though, for how much it would cost, but I will support a proposal for refurbishing those, that site in order to make sure that people can read those names. Absolutely, without a doubt.
That is something that is our next project, and I'm glad you suggested that.
Yes. So we need to see.
Henry and I will be working on that, and it is my hope that we will be able to, prior to Memorial Day, come up with a proposal for a project to refurbish that. It's still in the early stages, but we will be doing that, and it would be my hope that we will get full support from the City Council for the refurbishment of that monument.
Because a few years ago, we started the Hometown Heroes program. Most of the members of council supported that. When that came up, that was in 2 years ago, we started that. We had the Medal of Honor winners. Last 2 years, we did that. We want to make sure that people understand. You know, sometimes people use patriotism very lightly, and people use what I will say is fake patriotism, about very easily just saying things about, you know, what this country stands for. One of the things that this country stands for is that we honor those who have decided to put on the uniform, to go out there, defend its values, and that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. As I said, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that from my mind.
Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Council President, I do want to just echo, because both gentlemen will remember my fondest memories as a child as being a daughter of the Post 322 American Legion, which was originated as an African American post, and was a very vibrant celebration in Summit, and with a parade, and it was a wonderful time that I remember in my childhood. So along with you, David, I really look forward to seeing your proposal and honoring.
He's one of the most beloved members of the post at that time. When I took over as commander, I was the only non-African American member of the post leadership. And we are working very hard with Reverend Harrield now to turn around and recruit more members of the African American community. Awesome. And it is becoming more and more of an inclusive organization. Matter of fact, in our recruitment poster, we have a picture of one of the founding members of the post is prominently displayed. And
I emphasize whenever I speak that the American Legion is for all veterans. And we want all veterans to feel welcome and become members and to receive the help that those of us who are experienced in helping veterans get their benefits and get respect, and sometimes just listening to their story. And that's very important to all of us.
And restoring for our children.
Yes.
Our children need to hear these stories so they can have pride
Yes.
in service. That's what I am so happy about. So I
We
just
will
wanna
never
thank you.
leave
You know
any
what?
man behind.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Ms.
We
Gilmore.
have to move on with the agenda, but
Can I
thank
make
you.
one personal comment?
Yes.
Good night, Leo. You can go to bed.
Thank you both.
Thank you.